All right, what is up, everybody? Good to be back. Dang, that mic just sounds loud. Maybe it's just my headset. Let me know if the audio is good. Sorry for the late start. I'm 3 minutes late. I do apologize. But 100% my fault. I started setting up the stream at exactly 8 o'clock. So maybe I should plan better. But had to eat dinner. So here we are. Um, we have a ton to talk about. Um, Everything from the world's format change, no limited. We got no new cards. I don't think. No, there was one. What was the one spoiled over the weekend? It was the Max one, and was there another one? Maybe there's some cards that we can talk about. I'm not sure. I'm gonna double check that. I know it's the mech one. I don't know if there was a second or not. Is this stream? Oh goodness. Good to see you, Matt. So yeah, we have a ton to talk about. Yeah, the Puffin one, the untapped. That's right. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's just dive right in. So the main thing that I wanted to cover today is, well, I guess let me get caught up in chat real quick. No draft for a major TCG event is kind of unheard of. No. I mean, I'm sure they've done like worlds and stuff like CC only. The first Pro Tour was just CC. So like without limited, I don't know. And I definitely don't know for Magic. I have no clue. And no idea. So I just don't know what the norm is in that realm. I wonder if it indicates their lack of confidence in. So that's something that we can kind of speculate is why they would make the decision that they did. I think that's kind of fun, maybe thought provoking. I don't want to dig too far into it because it is speculating, and I don't know what actual value that'll cause. But I think it'll be fun. And am I going to Battle Hard in Orlando? Quack, I definitely not, but it would be a blast. I remember when Nats was in Orlando. In fact, when is that event actually? Before I answer completely yes or no. If it's very soon, the answer is no. It is in 2 days. The answer is no. I just looked it up. Yeah, and the main reason that I won't be there is I literally did not know that it was happening. Once again, my bad. So definitely will not be there. But it sounds like a hell of a time. I remember the first Nats was in Orlando. Absolute blast of a time. So the big news that kind of dropped was obviously that there will be no limited in the world's format. And this is basically the first time that they will have decided to do so ever since they started putting limited in the formats. Like I mentioned earlier, the first Pro Tour was strictly CC, all rounds. We just played Classic Constructed the whole way. It was fun. It's actually a tournament that I really enjoyed. Like when Florida was popping for yeah, man, bro. Back in that day, man, for that Nats, bro, people were driving like 4 hours to RTNs, and of course, extended arc tunic is makes the drive a little bit easier. You know what I'm saying? So there's no limited, and I kind of like what Kyle did with the thumbnail, because he always takes it to the extreme, but it's smart. It's smart. But honestly, my opinion on the matter, believe it or not, I think they're kind of cooking. To be honest, I had a conversation with Brian in uh, in Vegas. I think it was like day 3 of Nats or something like that. While the top 8 games were going, I had a conversation with him, and I straight up told him, I was like, "Look, I I've just never been a big fan of limited. Um, I've just it's like I've always done it because like you have to competitively, like it's something that you kind of just got to do. But I've never like gotten with the boys and been like, yeah, let's go play some limited. Like I've never done that shit. Um, because I don't know. I would just rather play the constructed version. Um, but I also told him that in the exact same time, high seas actually started to like tip the scale there. Um, I actually enjoyed high seas. Um, it was not allocated enough to draft with the boys, so that was a separate problem. But it was it was a very fun format, and I actually had a really good time. And so, overall, I've always thought of constructed formats a lot better than limited. So, a player like me, I'm all for it, right? Also, what I mentioned actually months ago, several months ago, I mentioned that it was kind of when it was the LL calling that happened, I believe in Chicago, if I'm not mistaken. When I got back from the event, I basically said that I think LSS needed to make one of two decisions. Essentially, just shit or get off the pot with LL. I said that they need to either like essentially just discard it and kind of wait for that better opportune time where maybe you can like lean on nostalgia a little bit more, whatever the case may be, or give it like a good try. Uh, maybe I wasn't expecting like, hey, let's just make it half of worlds. That is not something I expected. But that would definitely, check the box of, give it a good honest try. So whether let's just kind of like fast forward a little bit past the event. Let's say that maybe the end result is it's not ideal, right? Maybe players would prefer to draft and do CC rather than LL. Let's say that that's the case, right? And we analyze like the viewership and just the hype around it. We get a good idea. I think what it'll actually do is it'll give LSS the answer. Like, is this something that we should be going towards, right? Because they're just basically going all in. They're just pushing all their chips in, and they're like saying, you know what, here it is. And if you don't like it, let us know. And I respect that personally. Um, and I think it's ultimately the right move. Could it have waited for a pro tour? Maybe there's an argument to be made. But fuck it, let's just throw it in worlds. Like, why not? So I think worst case scenario, it gives us the answer that we need on should LL be like prioritized in like ProQuest and RTNs and a bunch of callings or things like that can provide a lot of value to the game and to the players in the community. So that's one thing that I'm really looking forward to. And I've seen a lot of feedback really quickly on Twitter and of course some videos being posted about different people's opinions. I've seen a lot of people excited. I've seen a lot of people kind of down on it. Um, and I definitely understand it, right? And this is, I guess, where we can kind of like tilt into the speculation of like why. I kind of just gave my kind of speculation on what the main motivation could possibly be for making that decision. Is like, let's just give this a good fucking shot and like see what happens, right? But there could be a lot of things, right? Like somebody mentioned, what was it? Lack of confidence in the draft format. That could be it, right? Like we don't know. Um, it's interesting because like the there's still a draft, well, a limited calling at Montreal, which like I don't that doesn't click with me, right? Like if you think it's that bad, right? I guess if people are hyped about the set, like who gives a shit? I don't know. I guess I need to make sure before I speculate on that. Is the format of Montreal limited? I'm just making the assumption that it is, right? Like it just gotta be. World premiere, Montreal. Just opening it up. Let's see. The world premiere is obviously just sealed, but the calling is, yeah, sealed in booster draft. So there is a draft format that is playable, quote unquote, right? Um, hello, calling. No, this shit says calling Montreal, and it says Super Slam sealed deck plus Super Slam booster draft. So the calling at Montreal. Um, yeah, at Worlds the calling is LL. You are correct, 100%. So they're having draft there now. There's a good argument to be made to where like, all right, people are going to be so hyped about the cars that maybe it doesn't matter. Um, and you kind of have to have you can't like you can't have a CC event. I guess the point I'm trying to get at is like you have to have a limited event at a world premiere. It doesn't make any sense to do it otherwise. Right? You can't do CC, you can't do LL. Like none of that makes sense because one, nobody has the cards. Two, the cards aren't legal, right? Um, so you literally have to do like it can't be allocation. I've heard that rumor that Super Slam allocation was so low that they couldn't have it for Worlds. Um, I disagree with that one because like it's fucking Worlds, right? Like you can pull the product that you need. Um, does it give the same effect as high seas? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe they're just trying to. Maybe they're. I guess it is possible where they're essentially just trying to. Let's say you have a high sea situation and you take the U.S. right. Well, if the US did not have to support Nats, how many I guess the ultimate question is how many boxes does a US Nats event consume, right? If the answer is like 1,000 boxes, then theoretically you increase the allocation for that regional area by 1,000 boxes, right? Because there's no longer that huge source just drawing on those resources. So, um, is it tea time? And Nathan already? It's always tea time. Um, Worlds wouldn't soak up that much yeah, but you would be surprised. I mean, think about it. You're right, like if from a draft perspective, right? Like, yeah, we open fucking, I don't know. Usually at big events, there's like 40 pods. That's literally 40 boxes each day, tops. So that's like 80 boxes. Like, it doesn't matter. But you have to consider the prize wall, right? That's 100, couple hundred probably. Especially if it's the newest set, it's what everybody always gets. Then you have boxes to practice. That's a great point in chat. So that creates another demand, right? Um, also, if there's an allocation situation, do people have the resources and the time to actually practice the set, right? Because they have clearly drew the line at what happened with what was it, Draft Fab or whatever that website was. Um, that draft is not supposed to be simulated online, or at least not in the way that they did it. Um, so I'm trying to think, like, that's the only line that I can draw. It has to be a playable limited set. There's no way that they make a set and they're like, yeah, we just don't have like faith in it. Like, I think that set, especially if the set was like Worlds, I think the set would get pushed before that happened. If that was the real reason, if like let's just make the assumption that limited was just dog shit, right? I think that they would push the set before just saying, "Hey, let's just not have this set in." Yeah, I don't like that premise. I don't like the premise of the limited in the set is bad, and that's why it's not at Worlds. I think it's a resource problem, um, especially because we have the past 4 sets, pretty much ever since what Hunted. Um, the allocation of the sets have been on the lower side, right? And we really saw the impact of that. Um, so basically, what we're talking about is in the World Championship. Historically, there is a CC in a limited format, and which is draft. And this World Championship, they have replaced draft with the Living Legend format. That's what we're currently discussing, and we're trying to kind of put the pieces together on kind of speculating a little bit on why maybe that decision was made. Some people said in draft maybe it's the lack of confidence in the set, and I was like, I don't know about that. Um, but I can lean on the idea of like maybe the product supply is the situation, right? But I guess the biggest way to draw that line would be okay, when does the set release, right? And the answer to that question is right at the beginning of October, right? Because pre-releases ends on the 28th. No, so that's when it would, at the end of September is when it releases. And then Worlds is not until like fucking November. So it can't be a product issue either. Cuz that gives you a month and a half. That literally gives you 2 plus 31 is 33 days plus another 12. You're at 45 days exactly. You have 44 days exactly to fix your allocation problem, right? We got multiple waves in that time period from high seas. I don't know. Maybe that doesn't make sense. What if it's a viewership thing, right? Because we've all seen the viewer numbers, right? You have a CC portion of an event, then the draft happens and the viewership, like, I don't want to exaggerate and say it gets cut in half, but like it dips, right? Like it's not a 1-to-1. So maybe it's like it's tough. I hope they do a dev talk and say why. I really hope they do because I like none of it makes sense, right? Like, would you change your world championship format because it was better production? Maybe if that was like your really big, you know, focus views, it's that they're just testing the waters. Huh. Let me get caught up in chat. Y'all are having some good ideas. Um, Tea time with Nathan. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But I would guess LSS would account for needing product for tiered. Yeah, they would take the product, and that's the problem. So now it creates a shortage in everybody else. Essentially, is what ends up happening. I think people mean that it would be too hard for people to get boxes to practice. Yeah, that's kind of where I was getting at too. They were limiting prize wall high seas packs at KC, so maybe allocation is a thing. Wait, they were still limiting at KC? Like a couple weeks ago? Holy shit. Maybe the allocation is that bad. Wow. I didn't know that. That's very important. That's whack, LL whack. I mean, you can play Briar. That would be my suggestion. It's definitely not whack, but the LL format is not. I'm gonna keep it. It's just a different game. Like it really is. No other way to really put it. I think I can see the set either being too shallow, given we'll have plenty of time to play it. They don't want a solved format on stream. That's good. That's a really good point, right? Because we'll have had the format or the set for 45 days. That's a really good point. Like a really good point. And the super rares, too swingy gameplay. See, you're cooking. You're cooking. Draft is incredible in an open deck building system like MTG, but class restriction in Drab in Fab snooze fest. Yeah, I've heard that. I've definitely heard that complaint for sure. Why don't we accept the simplest explanation? They are experimenting other formats for tier four. I mean, that very well could be. Like, um, but so typically, this would be my only counterpoint to that is let's just change the subject to anything, right? You're just trying something new, X, right? Business, you're releasing a product. Do you do it on the world championship equivalent, right? Like if I'm trying something, do I wait for the biggest event of the year to try it? I mean, it takes some balls to do it, but like I don't know. Maybe they're just going all out. Like I said at the beginning, and they're just trying it. It's just, I guess it's just risky. I guess is the, and maybe they're okay with that risk. I mean, respect to them. I don't like limited for competitive. It favors the unemployed too much. I have a job and kids. Um, as somebody who also has a job and kids, um, I respect the take, but I mean, you're always gonna be, um, there's always gonna be somebody that has more time than you. And I don't think that whether it's limited or constructed or LL, I don't think that advantage dissipates or lessens. Granted, I guess there are certain formats where that advantage does mean more, and can be leveraged more, but you know. Didn't LSS say straight up that this set was going to be much more volatile? And that's why there's super rares back? I do think they're setting up this isn't a super competitive draft. Okay, maybe that is the case. And that would make sense with the super rares. I don't know where this was said, but maybe. LL being popular keeps card values higher and less chance of people leaving the game when they're hero LLs. I love where your thought process is, and you're 100% right. I just don't think that they're like. I think they're worried about getting step 1 and 2 right, and not 5 and 6. Um, so 100% correct. But I don't think that would be the main motivator. Probably one of them. There isn't another limited calling besides the world premiere, so that would support the idea that maybe it's just not a very competitively driven set. Maybe they were tired of people complaining about how much limited made up the competition experience. I mean, it did, if I'm being honest. But I think that had more to do with like skill expression, right? Like there was just a lot more skill expression in the limited format. Um, I guess also I guess one part that really isn't factored when somebody says that is limited. You have a higher potential, theoretically, I guess there's like a higher band, right? Like in a somewhat solved format, there's like a threshold for decks, right? Like you can bring a bad deck, you can bring a good deck, but like it's not that far apart in like a solved, very high level event. But in limited, because cards are coming and you can get return fire and cards like that that can just be absolute bombs. Maybe the reason that somebody, obviously some people are very good at limited. I'm not trying to downplay that. But if you get a really good pool, it's way easier to go 3-0 or 0-3 th- than otherwise, right? Well, I guess mathematically you would be less probable. But what I'm saying is picking up the cards will lean you in one direction or the other and expand that threshold. I don't know if that makes sense. It did in my mind, but check me on that. Um, maybe they were tired. We already went that. Views. It's that. Yeah, it could be. I don't know. These were changes need to allow. No, I don't think you. I think you can have limited and still pay cash prize. Well, the term is not in Germany, so that doesn't matter. You can still pay cash prize to somebody from Germany if they come here to play. Uh, I think they just wanted to push LL. I think that's right. And you can't cut CC. That's where I went to first. That's nice name, Mavrian Fries. That is goaded. It has to be viewership. I refuse to believe that they think two constructed formats is a better way to evaluate the skill of a player. Ah, I mean, I guess it depends on the format, right? Like, if you were to say that in bright lights, I would say that like it's very skill expressive. But if you said that in some other formats like Uprising, I would say that it's much less skill expressive. Should have done all three. That's what they did with the first World Championship. They did Blitz, CC, and Draft, and they got a huge complaint that it was just too many formats, right? Like it was tough to just balance all of it, right? They had the initial argument that, well, if you're at the World Championship, you should carry that expectation. And I was like, yes, but you also are inviting 400 players to the World Championship. It's not like some 30 person, you can only go to this if you know life the game. We're not at that level. So I think they came to that realization and was like, okay, well, maybe just two formats. Um, LL is fine, but it's a bit rune bladey. Well, what the hell's wrong with that? What are you trying to say? 10 packs of high C's at KC all weekend. They took your name down. Holy shit. That is wild. That is wild. That's funny. I'm a limited hater. Fun to play, but I found it very, very boring to watch. Yeah, I don't like watching it either, and I'm not very fond of playing it either. So uh, I don't disagree there. I respect what it is, and I know why people enjoy it, and I respect that. But I think LL at Worlds lets us know that LSS wants LL to succeed. Yeah, and I'm all for him just giving it like one good shot. Like, just let them cook. Let them cook for this one thing. And if they get a bad reception, if attendance is way down, and it's not because we're in fucking Philadelphia, then like, maybe they can then have the data to kind of reevaluate. But I literally said months ago, I was like, you need to either sideline LL or give it all you got. And they went with that one. So I think LL Worlds lets us know. Yeah, yeah. LSS loves to try stuff like that. I mean, it could be, yeah. Is Worlds that big a deal, really? Does the game die because of one bad Worlds? No, it doesn't die, but Worlds is easily your most advertised. Like, every big tournament is an advertisement, right? Like $50,000 tournament or first place 50,000. That's if you have a competitive Magic player. I'm just going to use an example, and you wanted that person to play Flesh and Blood. Your Pro Tours and your World Championships are your number one advertising vessel to get that player to play your game and other people, right? But you can't really control the other people. So, yeah, it's not going to kill the game. The game doesn't die because of one bad Worlds, but it is risky, right? Like, if there's a Magic player that's played draft for the past 15 years of their life in the card game that they chose, and now you're saying like no limited at the World Championship, that could be a turnoff for a lot of Magic players. There could be a lot of people that like just fucking love, you know, draft in Magic, and they're like, well, why would I go to that game, right? I'm just saying that there's a lot more to it than just making a very simple decision, right? Whereas if it's a pro tour and you have multiple of those a year, it's like, okay, well, they just had one that focused on one. Then I guess having it at the World Championship kind of just tells the community what the focus is for the company. As with anything, right? If you have the biggest whatever you are doing and you list a number of things that you're doing there, that's your priority, right? I think it's as simple as that. The only way when can we get an LL stream from you? I mean, we can do it. You know what? One thing that we need to do. You talking gameplay or you want a tier list? Well, what are we talking? What are we talking? I mean, we can do both. We can definitely do both. The only way for the community as a whole to really delve into the LL format is if there's a high stakes event. Yeah, but I think you accomplish the same thing with the Pro Tour. Like I don't think like to me, I feel like you get the same reward but way less risk if you do it at a Pro Tour. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. I feel like you get all the benefit but not as much risk, right? And it gives you a better data point, right? Because there's like a lot of people that like will just not skip worlds, period, which kind of construes your data a little bit. Whereas I know a lot of people that will just sit out in one of the pro tours of the year, that kind of situation. I like LL, but getting people to play it locally is almost impossible in my city. You have to have like like I don't know what the right term. You just have to have like a very veteran player base, right? Like you have to be made up of a bunch of people that have just been playing the game for fucking 3 to 4 years to get a whole lot of people interested in LL. Because 90% of the player base that has joined in the past year probably doesn't give a shit about LL. Honestly, like, and that's speculation. Maybe they have data to disprove that. I don't know. Um, Pretty much for us, I like LL, but getting people to play locally is almost impossible in my. It's kind of expensive too. Probably it doesn't help. Show us your LL Briar list. I'm gonna need a little bit more pressure than that. Give up all the secrets. Come on now. Best of 3 format for top 8 might also be something they wanted to try. Can't really do that with limited. That is a great point. That is a great point. You're full of really good points today. On point. Yeah, you couldn't. You couldn't do multiple formats. I mean, you could, but it wouldn't make any fucking sense. Like, you couldn't have you couldn't bring an LL deck just for top 8. That's a whole lot of wasted time for the 392 other people. So yeah, I mean, you might be right. Yeah, Illusionist is the better class. Kevin, look, we both know. Okay, that Room Blade. Do me a favor. Okay, Kevin. Mosey on over to fabtcg.com. Okay. Go to the LL page, which apparently is the most visited page on the website. Who knew? Go ahead and count the illusionist for me. And then count the rune blades. All I'm going to say is one number is higher than the other. That's all I'm going to say. That's all I'm going to say. It's that easy. It's that easy, Kevin. Do that for me real quick. I'm a big fan of the change. I bet it will help viewership since half the people won't leave during draft. I'm sure it'll help the viewership. I have no doubt, right? But like, I find it hard to be like, that be the reason they made the decision. Right? Only because they've made more rune blades. Tell that to Guardians and Warriors. I don't think making more correlates to LL rate. I'm just saying. I wish LL was like Project Blue. To be honest, here's an interesting idea. What if they're setting the tone for like doing that next year? Because I do agree that like, I don't know, having that it's like an entry, kind of like an entry point. I don't know. It's so hard for this game to like have a new format take off. I wish I could go back and I'll tell you, actually, I know exactly what happened. So anybody that played the game back when Monarch came out, that's when I started playing the game, when Monarch First Edition dropped. And what happened effectively is everybody, and I mean everybody, played Blitz. If you went to an armory, it was Blitz. Period. At least in everywhere if you went to an online skirmish, it was fucking Blitz. Okay? Everything was Blitz. And then all of the sudden, I remember, because everybody was pissed because they had to buy a third copy of this, a third copy of that. Chat, I don't want to admit this publicly, but your boys spent $210 on a playset of Spoils of War. Okay? Crucible of War First Edition, that's a whole nother story. Okay? Please don't check the TCG player price on those now, because your boy got burnt, is all I'm saying. Okay? Y'all don't know nothing about $150 Courage of Bladehold. Okay? It was tough out there. Okay? It was tough. But everybody played Blitz, and then RTN, the first RTN season was announced, right? And it was like the format was CC. And literally from that moment on, it was just, we could not find people to play Blitz. I'm telling you, this evolution happened. LSS should like study the shit out of it, okay? Because the evolution happened in like 4 weeks. From 210 pesos. No, US dollars, like before COVID inflation really hit in, okay? Before the checks came, okay? Oh, it was rough. It was rough. Mavrian Skies Blue, I'm not kidding, is a fucking rare. And it was $10. I swear to God, okay? Mavrian Sky, not foil. Standard Mauve Skies Blue was fucking $10. I swear to God, bro. Yeah, and Chris is throwing it in chat right now. It was wild, bro. It was absolutely wild. It was just, bro. I had to auction off my firstborn, and it was terrible. It was awful, man. It was, but it was such a good time. I'm not gonna lie. It was, bro. The first year of Fab in the US, like when it actually took off, bro, nobody knew what the fuck they were doing. Oh, but it was some of the best games you could ever have. I don't know what it is. Oh my God. People playing just all kind of shit in their deck. And it was so good. It was so good. With Shelter was $10. Yeah, but Shelter's not a rare. Shelter's not a rare. Um so But basically, what I was saying is like in 4 weeks, everybody just completely abandoned Blitz, or at least to my knowledge. And maybe that's my fault partially because, like, not my fault. I didn't cause it, but I'm saying like my perception is purely competitive and not really on the casual side. So maybe there's more Blitz going on than I think. I'm just saying, as far as like content creation and just overall involvement, what people are talking about and stuff like that, like it was just like Blitz just got literally thrown in the trash can in comparison to CC, and it all happened in literally like 4 weeks. And we, the competitive community, just never looked back. And this is all to kind of like go to your Project Blue topic, where I, I'm gonna make a theory, and I truly do not think that a casual, and I don't want this to be true. It's just my theory. But I don't think that a casual format can get a bunch of traction from the majority unless it is the main competitive focus. Um, which is maybe what they're attempting to do with LL. It's possible. I don't know. Um, but it just seems like the player, like LSS says, hey, this is the competitive aspect, and then the players just like abandon all thoughts and processes, and then they just like, okay, we're going here. And there's like no rhyme or they'll drop it like a bad habit. I mean, it's wild. I'd rather watch over LL. I didn't start the game until heavy, so all the old crack junk heroes just seem goofy to me. I mean, yeah, and that's what I meant. Where like everybody playing like the last year or so, like probably don't get a whole lot out of LL. I mean, obviously there's MST, right? Um, can't believe all three of them are gone. That's wild. I think they have to address Starvo somehow if they want LL to be competitive format. Too much collateral damage on the restricted. There is a lot of collateral damage. I agree, and that is something that they're going to have to kind of fix. And maybe it's hero specific ban. I don't know, but I do 100% agree with you. Right? Like if I was an Oldham player, I would be pissed. 100%. There's just no other way to cut it. Um, I would not be. I would not be happy. So. You can definitely have a game start to lose ground from from death by 1,000 small decisions with regards to competitive play. I mean, that's 100% true if they are impactful enough. LL being popular may cause people to want more cards banned in CC. Possible. I could see it. I think we've moved past it a little bit, but if you want to check out the video about volatility in Super Slam, it's at 29 minutes, the keynote live stream. Okay, you quoted it. You're the GOAT. You're the GOAT. Why is this important? Well, Super Slam has the most unique singletons out of any set ever, made by a very large margin. That adds much more variability to the limited format. Yeah, okay. That's a good point. Here's an idea. LL gameplay stream with submitted deck list. I personally want gameplay and tier list. Well, that's what we're going to have to do then. There's just no other way to put it. So what we're gonna do Actually, I got an idea. So the BNR comes out on the 1st, like in like 5 days or some shit. Um, what we're gonna do because we have the Super Slam tier list coming up in a couple weeks as well after the world premiere at Montreal, right? So what we're gonna do is we'll do the tier list for LL. I got to study it a little bit more to get a good idea, but we're gonna do a tier list. And what I can do is starting next stream, we can start playing some LL games. I got to work how I'm gonna actually get the people to play because I know there's a lot less LL traffic on Tower. I could be wrong. There could be enough now since it's definitely in Worlds. And we got ProQuest season coming up as well. So we'll definitely get in some LL gameplay. You already know what I'm going to be playing. And also we'll do an LL tier list before the Super Slam one. We'll do that. And we'll get it cooking, okay? I feel like both LL being skill testing and good on coverage are super dependent on what the best deck is. That's a good point. Zen's kind of boring to watch, but Icelander and Prism are pretty fun. It's going to be interesting. Yeah, thank you for digging that up. I do appreciate it. I'm worried about the watchability of the top 8. So a lot of people are confused on what's going to happen. And historically what has happened is one person plays and then they walk it all the way down the bracket. So there's 4 games, then there's 2 games, then there's 1 game, 7 games in total. And basically they spend a whole day to stream every single match, right? The problem, or it's not really a problem, but what's going to happen is they're only going to pick 1 match. Which one thing that I did want to mention on that is I think one of the aspects of playing day 3 of the highest tier event possible is everybody's going to see you play, right? Theoretically, at a calling, you could, just barely make it into top 8. You could lose your first or second round. You could never have a stream game, right? Like that has happened probably several times, right? But a Pro Tour, every game is streamed. Everybody gets their opportunity to basically relish in their accomplishment, right? And now, because of the way it's format, you can't do 50 games in one day. What's going to happen is they're going to pick 1 game, just like they do in a normal thing. They're going to play all 2 to 3 games. And then they might have a backup one where you can like watch the last game if the first one doesn't go to game 3 or whatever the case may be. And my point is like a lot of players will lose that opportunity of their guaranteed, if that's important to them, right? Some people care, some people don't, but I just worry a little bit about the people who do care about it, and that is kind of because let's face it, always know what happens. It's one of 2 things that decides in top 8 whether you're on the coverage. It's either you're a familiar name or it's a very interesting matchup, or it's like not a dog shit matchup, right? Like it's the combination of those 2 things is what gets you on stream, right? But the problem is if any of that decision is on the first thing I said, where it's the familiar name, well, you've probably watched that person. Like, we'll use the example of like Pablo, right? Like the tournaments follow Pablo, and I will say for a good reason because, well, he's just the GOAT, and that's just how it is, right? And we should watch as many of those games as we possibly can, right? But basically, he's probably been on coverage twice through Swiss. Like, if not followed him during draft, like you see what I'm saying? So it is something that somebody like Ethan or Sam could kind of mitigate a little bit by tracking, who's been on coverage and make sure, there's ways to kind of, maybe mitigate that. But I just do want to shed a little bit of light on that. That some people are not going to have that opportunity that a lot of people maybe expect. Doo-doo-doo-doo. It's 21 hours of gameplay. It's not. It is not 21 hours of gameplay. They are going to play one set of matches, best of 3, best of 3, best of 3. That's it. It'll be a max of 9 games total. That is your absolute maximum. Is if every game went to game 3, you'd play 9 games. Bro, we got one of each class left in the game. Benny, don't count. You kind of right though. You kind of right. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good point. Give me my shackles back, man. I miss playing Chain, but he sucks in LL. I'm telling you, dog shit. I did see every top 8 match on stream. Like 100% can't do that now. Yeah, you just can't do it. Arcanite Skull Cap. I do not want to admit what I paid for mine. I paid $210 for my Arcanite Skull Cap. Rainbow foil, by the way, not cold foil. I had one of those too. I have one of those. But my rainbow foil, I paid $210. I think now it's like $15-20, maybe. But to counter that is, I think Quack that was in chat. I think he actually traded. Did I trade with? I traded somebody an Arcanite Skull Cap for an Eye of Ophidia. So that one's working out. We at least are doing okay in one of those. But everything else from that time, it was rough. It was rough. Our first show match was Blitz. The next from 8 were CC. Exactly. Bought Massacres at 30 apiece. Bro, Crew first was just so expensive. So expensive. It would be great to see Project Blue be a 40 live format. Okay. First thing I do when I wake up is watch the stream. Look at that. Look at that. Casual format is needed, in my opinion, for skirmish. I 100% agree. I wish it wasn't the case. But it just, like, I understand the necessity for the casual player base. I think that the game literally depends on it. Like, if you don't have a casual base, I don't think you have a competitive base without a casual base, but you can definitely have the opposite. So excited for BNR after Battle Hard in Orlando. Yeah, we're gonna see. I mean, the problem is I don't really. It's risky for the LL bands, right? Because do they have enough data? No. Like, the problem with LL right now is the majority of the competitive player base is not actually went in on it. So any battle hardened, I don't care what it is. This battle hardened will give us a glimpse, but 75% of the player base that go to that battle harden, which is typically not the case at a standalone battle harden, they're gonna have just unrefined deck list. Like, they've played 10 games on Talishar. It was 75% of what they played back, in 2021, whatever the case, and they're just gonna run it, right? Like, because it was sitting in a box or something. And so you don't. What's gonna happen is there's gonna be a deck. I predict it's gonna be a ninja and it's just gonna just dominate the field, right? You put that deck in the player's hand, a good player's hand, and they're just gonna run the tournament, right? Like this might be a hot take, but I think this coming Battle Harden is easily like the most likely event that a player just goes undefeated the whole way, because there will be so much of the player base that is just not prepared, and I think if it's probably going to be Zephyr Needle Ninja of some kind or something like that, and it's just going to take over. They're just going to run the place. Is what's ultimately going to happen. Mantle's going to go. I was team Mantle got to go, but I heard Noah on the Runaways talking about how Bonds of Agony is actually the better band because Mantle's not the problem. The problem with Mantle is it's just an infinite copy, or not infinite, but it's way more copies um of Bonds. So if you just get rid of Bonds, you still have the cool card that is Take Up the Mantle. So he kind of made a good point, right? Like, so I'm actually team ban Bonds, which a lot of players have been on for a year now. Shame Icelander just kind of bland in LL. Yeah. To be honest, they might have to clip like Belittle or something like that to kind of like. I don't think the hypo is enough. All you do with the hypo ban or unban, right? Because it was restricted or something. All you do there is you basically punish Runeblade. Like it helps the Icelander Runeblade matchup, but the problem is like the ninjas can just run her over, right? And that's probably not ideal. Our casters are good enough they can walk through and explain top 8 of worlds 100%. CC deck is going to be like Gravy versus Slippy. LL is going to be Oldham Mirror. There's literally no reason to play Oldham in LL, in my opinion. I could be wrong. Magic Coverage has done simultaneous top 8 games, but they can switch between them during downtime or something. That's interesting. And if anybody can do it, it'll be Ethan. I just don't know logistically how. I don't know. He's the wizard at all of that. So if anybody can do it, it's going to be Ethan, right? But maybe we're just a little bit away from something like that. He always brings something brand new every single time, though. So it could be right around the corner. Who fuck knows? I traded Arcanite reprints non-foil for an Eye of Ophidia when I was 100. Quack's my goat. Got him. That's the best deal ever. Why is Chain bad in LL? All his cards got banned, Josh. He doesn't have a Husk. He doesn't have Succumb. He got one Dirge. He's got no Coal, right? Or does he have one Coal? I don't fucking know. They neutered every power card he had, like literally. Neutered it all. It was actually wild. That is why Chain is just dog shit in LL. But RuneGate Chain was one of. We're not gonna say it's more fun than Briar, okay? We're not gonna go that far. But I will say that it was easily the second most fun I've ever had playing Flesh and Blood was RuneGate Chain. That shit. Oh man, I was having a blast. I played Viscera at the LL calling in Chicago. And then the Battle Harden came around. I was like, I really don't want to play this deck again. I'm just not feeling it. And then I was talking to Naib and I was like, hey, you bring an extra deck? And he goes, yeah, I got RuneGate Chain. And I was like, let me borrow that. He was like, okay. So So I just played his deck, and bro, I was having a blast. Got paired into Brody round 1 in the mirror. He was not on RuneGate. Had to teach him the ways, but it was a blast, man. I just love playing that. TCG player receipts pop off. It is wild. Barely anyone is gonna go to Orlando. It's gonna be Runeblades, and I think it's gonna be ninjas and Runeblades. I agree. And there's gonna be some people that try to make new work. Ranger is wild work. Like, there's no way I'm playing Ranger in LL. There's no shot. LL Gravy with CYB and Scuba to keep reoccurring the yellow one. What? Mantle is future proofing problem though. Somewhat that it, but if you, as long as you balance your stealth cards, is it right? Like, nobody's gonna complain because you swapped in a prognosis. Nobody gives a shit, right? Because it's one that's extremely risky because a D react just covers it up, even with the mantle buff, right? So, yeah. Without the threat of bonds, I think Assassin is ruined. It's gonna be a hit. You're right, Nate. I don't know about ruined, but it's gonna be a hit. Okay. Dio versus Briar. Don't block who gasses the other person faster. I mean, that's basically that sums it up pretty decently. There's a little bit of nuance where, like, Briar can typically recover a little bit more value with their brick hands. So if anybody bricks, Briar has the best potential to come back from it, due to, like, embodiment and whatever the case may be. Where was I? Keep getting lost in chat. I'm having to, like, scroll up and down, and you guys are killing it. Say I'm a new player. Pitch to me why Runeblade is the best and I should play it. Well, I want you to just take a moment. Close your eyes. Okay? And imagine just being at the top tables, right? You look down, and you have that creeper is just sitting there with no counter on it. You look at your hand, you have the perfectly laid out hand to where you can just generate a bunch of action points. You can jam the fridge and disrupt them with base purgatory. You have the same amount of block as a warrior. You have evasion with arcane, split damage, Rosetta Thorn 2 and 2. Oh, by the way, if you play Briar, you also have infinite recursion with rites of replenishment and evergreen. Oh, do you like blocking? Well, we have that too. There's this thing called Earth of Embodiment, right? Do you like to go fast? Well, guess what? We have Embodiment of Lightning. Okay? And your card pool is infinitely scaled because you have the ability to scale off of generic cards. Okay? I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Action point generation, fridge, split damage. We're not going to talk about the bricks, okay? There's a lot of bricks, okay? I got to do that little quick talk legal legal statement at the end of the ad. There will be bricks. It will happen. But I'm just saying. If you're not playing Runeblade, or you haven't at least given it a shot, I get it. It's not for everybody, right? In life, there's winners and there's losers, right? And we know which one Roomblade players are, okay? But if it's not you, I get it. You named all the reasons I don't like. Oh, that's too good. You named every reason why I hate the deck. That's too good, Andy. Oh, that's good. I'm just saying. Excited to get back into the game. Best Guardian, any viable Bravo build? So, there was this thing called Master Guardian Pack, you know? It turns out it was just there to support Gravy. Who knew? Granted, there's some more Guardian cards around the corner, but if you're trying to build what we got now, you might want to wait a couple weeks, is all I'm saying. I have a need to somersault my Arknight Ascendancy. I know it's possible. I mean, if only. If only. I play CYB Gravy at my local LL tourney this week. Deck is quite good. I don't think my list is refined. Yeah, that one seems like, you know, a little tougher, right? On my way to play Runeblade. Sorry, Josh. Do you think there's an advantage to bringing the same hero for CC and LL for Worlds? No, I don't. One, you're at a strict disadvantage because the reward for winning first place, it actually says price card or cards, right? So if you win, and you have two separate heroes, you get one of each. But if you bring the same hero and you win, you only get that one, theoretically, right? Because if I'm not mistaken, when they bring all of the cards, maybe you can win. Does it say LL on it? I don't fucking know. I just don't see them giving you like two Iras. Like that just doesn't make any fucking sense. Maybe they do. I don't know. Sold, take my money. I'm telling you. Telling you. Can someone please edit this into an infomercial? Serenade is a cool card. It's cool because it was not printed as it was intended. Okay, if Go Again was not automatic, that card would be not rude. It would be very gentle. Okay, you named it all the reasons I don't like. Bro. That's hilarious. You can name draw a card on your E strike. That's the summary of why Runeblade is busted. That's fair. That's fair. I'm going to print your reason for Runeblade on a shirt, and I'm wearing that to Worlds. I mean, you got to support the cause, right? Got to. Oh, Nimby and Briar. Oh, it's just beautiful. Beautiful. And before they tell us cards can't be interchanged between two separate, that's not going to happen. I heard that discussion on the another video, and this is not going to happen, right? I understand the concern, right? And there's also the judge concern of like, did you swap them correctly? Whatever the case may be, 100%. But you are not going to need two sets of staples for Worlds. And I could be wrong, but I think that there's exactly a 0% chance that happens. There's no way. There's no shot. They're going to let you share cards between decks. Whether that leads to some judge call that's 47.5 minutes long, maybe, I don't know, and there maybe there's other downsides. But I'm telling you now, there's not going to be a written rule that says you have to have your LL and CC deck cannot share cards. It's not going to happen. No shot. Because if that does happen, then in protest, I will be playing the same deck for LL and CC. And guess what? Chat, I'm still fucking playing Briar for LL. So then my ass is gonna be playing the calling because I'm gonna get DQ. No, I'm just kidding. Uneven wear on a card sleeve is going to be a pain. Yeah. Could be a proxy. Yeah, something like that. I don't. That's tough. Because you have a lot of, like, after CC rounds, everybody's gonna be like taking their cards out, sliding them. It's gonna be a pain in the ass. That's for sure. That's something I didn't consider. It's actually a good point. I think we should change your stream name to the Cardboard Commentary. You know, it's funny you said that because I don't think I've shared my screen in the past 3 streams. I honestly don't know if I have. I'm not 100% certain. All right, chat. I need some brutal honesty. Okay? Don't be nice. Give it to me straight. Chat. How has the content been the past month? We liking it? We not liking it? Where's the gameplay? Should I mix it up? Do a little bit of both? How we looking? I'm looking for feedback. The haircut is bad. That is incorrect. This shit is aerodynamic as fuck, okay? This shit is on point. So we're not going to go there, okay? Shit was a mess before, I'll admit that, but it looks clean now, okay? We can't go there. Can't go there. Your lucky line is not a bannable offense for chat. You're lucky. Can you share an LL This list? I want to play him, but I don't know where to start. That's a tough one because this is in a tough spot because he got hit by a lot of collateral damage from the chain bans. You had the Deadwood Dirge was probably the biggest one. You had Succumb, so he lost a lot of leg work into like the aggro mirrors. Like Ninja just kind of runs him over now. But if you want to play him, what I would do is Hamilton and Chris Lyall played in a battle hardened. The deck lists are on. They're on the fabtcg website because I pulled them from my LL calling list. And I would look at that and just use that for inspiration, right? You just have to change Succumb, Dirge, and whatever else is currently not. The VTuber is not well designed. Hey, that's funny. 9 out of 10 doc points for the Ira slander. Was I hating on Ira? Did that happen? Big thumbs up. Chill content to match a big lull in current fab. Yeah, that's a good point. I guess we do kind of pick it up a little bit when things are actually bumping. And of course, we always got a tier list. We're always bringing that. It's always going to happen. Josh Missy played against DGA. Said nobody ever. Okay. I don't come for the gameplay. I'm here for the hot takes and tier list only. I mean, it's kind of based though, right? And also, I do not blame you at all for not coming for my gameplay. A little shot at myself. My content could be Nathan talking on mute, and I'd rate it 10 out of 10. I appreciate the love. I appreciate it. Maybe you should do something like NFL play breakdowns. Okay, little Tony Romo just breaking all the plays down, and okay, that's actually good. So I've seen some other people do it, and it doesn't seem. Well, I guess it's not really breakdowns. It's more just commentary. So I guess if I took just a unique, because I am very analytical, right? Like I've been told that I explain things really well, really well where a lot of people can understand it when my southern accent doesn't take over and I become uneducated very quickly. But when those things do not happen, I explain things very well, and maybe I just need to like. Actually, I kind of do that in my coaching where I'll just like pause a video and I'll say, okay, this is the situation. These are some of the things that the player is kind of considering at this moment. And it's just like really, really in depth. I guess it's just like super technical analysis, right? Um, I'm gonna give that a shot. I don't know how I'm gonna do it. I gotta think of a good way. Um, but that's a good idea. I'm gonna give that a shot. I don't know when, but we're definitely gonna give that a go. The only hero you ain't hating on is Briar. I mean, in LL, you're probably right. You're probably right. Chat, what is the besides Briar, what is the second most respectable hero somebody could flip over in LL? Like you see that hero and you're like, this is a well put together person. This is one exquisite individual because they flipped over this hero. Briar's obviously number one, but I'm asking you, chat, what is number two? I'm just curious. Needle Ninja, get the fuck out of here. Don't you? No. No. There ain't nothing exquisite about that. Hell, Kano, okay. New? See, I thought Dromai, but I don't know if I can go with that. The answer is not Needles Ninja. Whatever it is. Icelander, I can fuck with that. I can't. I like Quack's answer. Kano, that still to do Kano in like the crazy environment that it is like I would respect. Y'all be tripping if you don't say Starvo. I mean, if you're willing to like, if you're willing to stick with it after all the bans, I'd respect Starvo. Cash in Kasai. That's what I'm talking about. That is Josh's back pocket pick. I guarantee it. He's over here talking about some other decks, but I think there's a 70% chance he's on that. I'm just gonna say. Oh man. Berserk KO. I think we have our answer. How much of a Chad do you have to be to flip over? It doesn't even have to be KO, but just like a berserk deck. And that's like all it fucking does. That shit would be hilarious. That would be great. That would be literally where it's at, okay? The long game CYB Thistle. Oh. So playing CYB in Flesh and Blood is like catching a fish and releasing it, right? Like, why would you just like put a hook in a fish's mouth in a whatever the correct terminology is for a possession of one's mouth in reference to a fish? Why would you put the hook in their mouth just to make them late for something? Whereas like CYB players, they do the exact same thing. They're just trying to make you late to your next game. Okay. We're on to you. Okay. There's no salvaging that reputation. We all know that you side in your 70 card deck and you just want to make everybody else late. New bait card. New bait card. I gotta go with Berserk deck. That's gotta be like number 2. Gotta be. Oh, we got the evil Crawford in chat. We got the evil Crawford. Apparently, I was notified today that I'm revered. Taylor is not, apparently, as stated. Oh, man. What are you on about? I don't even know, bro. Not a fan of the fish analogy. Look, Matt, we're trying out here, okay? We're trying. He said, not a fan of it. That's good. That was actually funny. Oh, man. Big fan or not, living legend. Yeah. I agree, Will. 100% revered Crawford. Apparently, there was a discussion. I don't know if it was in purple or somewhere else, but it's been decided, okay? It is what it is. Eugene Ryan, RCC, and Berserk LL. God, Eugene playing Reinar and LL. Man. Wait, you're a Crawford? What are you saying? Are you saying am I a Crawford or is Taylor a Crawford? Because his name's right there. Okay, this is a crawfish joke. Got him. Okay. Austin's right. I'm not a Crawford, I'm a crawfish. Dunzo. Warriors allergic to LL. It's not a good place to be. Not a good place to be. Not at all. So the plan is going to be next week. Actually, we'll start next week because we're basically going to have the results of Orlando next week. So we'll start LL gameplay next week. We'll play some games. Probably be Briar, to be honest. And then we'll either a week after that or maybe 2 weeks, depending on how long it takes to kind of analyze. Oh, Crawl Dad, my bad, my bad. Depending on how long it takes to kind of figure out the meta and kind of at least come up with something that's coherent is it'll be a week or two after next weekend or next week, in which we'll do the LL tier list, and then because it has to be, of course, after the bans, and then at that point, Super Saiyan will be right around the corner. We'll do that tier list. Obviously, we're not going to do it right after release. We usually wait a week because we want to make a good product, right? We don't want to just throw darts at a dartboard. So that's what's in the chamber. Everybody knows Eugene is goated. Confirmed. Confirmed. All right, chat. Anybody's got anything? Now's the time. I'll give you a couple more minutes. You got any questions? Anything you want to discuss? Actually, let's take a second and talk about band predictions. We kind of discussed the take up the mantle, right? And we kind of hit on it a little bit last week, where we kind of said that like Golden Tipple would be like it would be an effective ban, but it would be a very bad ban because I think it would personally just ruin the gravy deck for all the people that actually play it. That's my opinion. I've heard people say port side exchange. That is a waste of time. That is like if you ban port side exchange, you're basically telling the community like I'm banning something because you asked for it, not because it's the solution. It's like, in my opinion, that's like the most half-ass ban ever. Okay, just like I don't know, port side exchange, not the answer. Okay, swell, I get it. That makes sense. Removes a lot of the feels bad, the high roll, whatever the case may be. I get it. Um, so I'm for swell. I think swell's a good target. Um, I mean, who would have thought that when belittle block 3 it would be good? Can't think of any more. You can't take the high value majestics, right? Can't take conk. You can't take. I've heard talks of like restricting chum to one, and maybe, yeah, you could do that. I think they need to just target the feels bad aspects of the deck, which, in whoever's idea that was in their defense, that would be chum, swell, back alley break line. That's like all three cards that are responsible for like chart. I think is just far enough, right? BNR is on the 1st of September, so we're like 3 or 4 days out. It it could be not ban anything, right? Like that's entirely possible. It's entirely possible that that happens. Germinate unban. So I like the thought process there of like not ban or unbanning germinate. The problem is, right? If you hit gravy enough, what you're doing is you're supporting the decks that are good against slipping. We'll say guardians, uh verdants, things like that, right? And germinate, I guess, is good into those. That would actually be a good countermeasure. Yeah, okay. I support an unbanning of germinate. I think you're right. I guess it's kind of like now or never. No, we're not doing any erratas. No shot. When is Nick's BNR is on September 1st. We could ban his ability to draw 11 cards a turn. You could, but you would have to literally ban a token, which is gold. Chum was in the armory deck. I do not think Chum was in the armory deck. I believe that's incorrect information. Was it? Andy, I will be 100% in attendance at Worlds. In fact, as soon as I get done with the stream, I'm going to send LSS the email of me wanting to redeem my PTI to play in Worlds. So Andy, I will 100% be there. The unique cards in the Armory deck are Oyston, Anka, and Sawbones. Those are the unique cards. And those cannot be hit. You just cannot hit those three. So I agree with your thought process, right? Like there's no way that they are going to they're not going to hit anything that is exclusively in the armory deck. With the exception of Call to the Grave, they could make it one, they could limit it to one, because there's only one copy in the armory deck. So that would make sense. The loots aren't good enough to really make an oh, the loots are exclusive. You're correct. That's what you're saying. I'm going to Worlds for the memes. I mean, is there any other reason? Actually, since it's in, how do we feel about Philadelphia, chat? How do we feel? I need some opinions. I have my own opinion. I'm gonna wait till you guys tell me, because I don't know how are we feeling about Philly as the location for Worlds. I I don't know. Is all I'm saying. I mean, they got the Liberty Bell, I guess. Train ticket to Worlds. Hell yeah. Birmingham, Alabama for next Worlds. See, any idea can begin from greatness, and that's one of them. Birmingham, Alabama Worlds. How do we make that happen? Okay? Because then we could just stop. or we could just start the tournament in top 8 because that's exactly how many people would show up. Yeah, I guess we got cheesesteaks. Okay. Okay. Could be worse. Love Philadelphia. Live 40 minutes. Okay, that's biased though. Do you actually love Philly, or are you saying that just because it's close? Be honest, because I haven't heard a whole lot of positive things from Philly. Philly in November, garbage world location, in my opinion. That's kind of where I was leaning, but Philly is fine in Center City. I live in New Jersey, been there plenty. Okay. South Jersey here. Not thrilled for the rest of the world, but it's close to me. Well said. Well said. Oh man. Best of 3 is a cool concept, but that would be much better suited for Blitz Limited, I reckon. I think they'll I think it'll work. I think it'll work better than people think it will. But at the same time, the big question is, does LL really like does the community attach to LL as a format? That's the big question. And we'll know after Worlds. Can't be worse than San Jose. Holy shit. We played the first World Championship in a tent, y'all. In a okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. Okay. It was okay, it wasn't a tent. Okay. It was a big ass tent. Okay. If I want to be more, if I want to remove my bias, and it was just a big fucking tent, bro. It was like when you got on the inside, it kind of looked like a hangar. Like it was kind of wild, to be honest. But it was a good time. It was a good time, and you know, we did it. We did it. Do. As a Commanders fan, I hate it. As someone that's only 2 hours away, I'm fine with it. Well, there you go. So that means you're okay with it. Yeah. I actually like Philly. I'll be there 2 weekends in a row. Okay. So overall, like, what did I miss? What did LSS thought? Well, we basically concluded that there could be allocation issues, or the draft format could be kind of less than ideal from a variance basis, or it could be them wanting to go all in on the idea of LL. And that's kind of the reasons on why they removed limited from the World Championship format. Looking forward to cheesesteak review. Josh, are you still here? Have you had a Philly cheesesteak? If not, we gotta fix that. If my November wasn't full of concerts, I'd 100% go to Philly. I'm a Devils fan, so I'd spend the weekend at Worlds, then just head up to yeah, hell yeah. Worlds, Alaska. Haven't they rotated the Worlds? So first Worlds was in San Jose. Second Worlds was in Barcelona. Right? Which is Spain, Europe, for those of you who don't know. Then it was Osaka. And then now we're back at US. So the next one should be in Europe. Like it should be what happens. If they could always change it up, I guess, but like if they follow the trend, then yeah, it should be in Europe. Where? Who the fuck knows? Worlds in Nathan's garage. Let's not, but say we did. We talked the food scene up in Birmingham. Oh my goodness. Reading Terminal Market is under the convention center. Excellent food in there. Okay, give it a shot. Philly has a great culture outside of Fab. An amazing food venue next to the convention center. Okay. That sounds like you pasted that shit straight off Google AI. Philly has a great culture outside of Fab. An amazing food venue next to the convention center in the city. Fun city for nightlife. But I believe you. I believe you. Because it's close, Pittsburgh would be, yeah, yeah. Yeah. World's in Tuscaloosa. That's that's literally where I'm at. Roll damn tide. Roll damn. Don't give it. Don't give a damn about nothing but the tide. Speaking of which, so normally I drive. Well, I don't because I don't attend because of the drive. But my closest armory is like an hour and a half away. Okay. However, in a week or two, the area that I'm closer to is going to have their very first armory. And we already have like 8 to 10 people that are interested in going. So, good news. Your boy might start actually be going the fucking armory. It has been a long time. They should just pick somewhere with cheap flights and convention center. I mean, kind of based. Wait, are you saying there's a Lion Eagles game the same weekend? Oh god. That's got to be a disaster. What do you think about play order in the top 8? I think it is an amazing idea. Just through and through. I think it's amazing. You literally have the strategic aspect of you can pass to go first or second if you don't leverage that much of an advantage in either match, or you can pick the match. Like, I think it's really, really awesome. Source called Down to Game, but really, really cool. You take that back about San Jose. It was literally a tent. It was literally a tent. What do you mean? Wasn't there, but in your experience and expertise, how much wind speed would have blown the tent? It was a sturdy tent, okay? Like, I don't know. It was sturdy, okay? It was like a convention center ran out of space, and they were like, "Fuck it, let's put a tent in the parking lot." So imagine that. You needed to just create another convention hall in the parking lot. I'm talking a bunch of shit, but it actually wasn't that bad. But when you were walking up, you were like, this is what we're doing. But then you get in there and it's like, okay, this is good. Y'all remember when we played Worlds in a suitcase? Nowadays, going first or second is a big deal. No, everyone going. It's that. Well, that's the beauty of it, is like you get to decide that, right? Like, let's say your deck really doesn't care that much, then you're going to prioritize the format over going first or second. So it just adds another layer of like little strategy. I think it's cool. I think it's a fun little aspect. I don't think there's anything bad about it. Makes sense they want to juice LL as more heroes. All right, I mean that makes sense. Top 8 CC winners scoops LL and picks CC for the final game. That wouldn't work, right? Because the second game is always the one you didn't play. So if the first one was CC, then the next one has to be LL, right? And then the last one is going to be whoever. Oh, I see what you're saying. No, because you have to win the second game or you're done, right? If you concede the first one, play the second one, you have to win. Third match, the loser of the second game picks. I think maybe something like that. They have the crab people. Philly still doing their trash strike thing. What is happening in the world? Crab people and trash strikes. Oh man, it feels good not to be in a city, is all I'm gonna say. That's all I'm gonna say. If you choose format, you can cause the format to be played twice as much as the other. One of the two matchups is probably polarized. More, yeah, yeah. Worse than AI, just a Philly resident based. That's good. Oh, that's good. Not only do they need not only do you need to have a cheesesteak, but a pork kennel roll too. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna take y'all's word for it. There's a casino in Philly. Oh shit. Andy's trying to take more of my money. Let me tell y'all about Andy at the poker table. All right. I sat down. This was right after Majin won Nats, and we were all just playing poker. It was me, Peter, Majin, Ponkage was playing with us, Andy, we had Jason, a whole bunch of people, right? A full fab player table. Everybody having a blast, talking shit. It was the most fun ever. And I sat down and I don't know if I had like a vacuum on my back or something, but I was just the chips were coming at me. Okay. I mean left and right. Like I was taking this pot, done, right? And then I get in this hand with Andy. Okay. So there's three of us in the hand. It's me, Yuanji, and then Andy's just sitting over there being quiet. Okay. And I flopped two pairs. Okay. It's not top two pairs, but it was two pair, right? I was being a little cheeky. I was being a little, a little sneaky. So my image wasn't that strong. So I was like, let me pop it up here. Let me throw in a raise and induce a little bit of action and see what happens, right? So I pop it up. They both call down, right? Card comes out, it's not super relevant to the board or whatever, and then I just jam. I say all in. Who's got it? I look at you, Angie. I say, yo, move. He says call. I said, oh shit. And then Andy just looks at his cards real quick. He goes, yeah, me too. And he flips over. He had a set of queens. He had pocket queens and then hit a set on the turn. Absolutely dumpstered me and Yuanji. We just shifted all the chips over to Andy and he got us good. But it was so much fun. Oh, it was so much fun. It was a blast. Absolute blast. Since the football game is going on, better get your air. Yeah, get your air bobs now. Get your air. I know you meant Airbnb. I'm just but yes, you need to get your air bobs now before it's too late. You got to. Yeah, he slow played him. He was chill with it. He knew he was gonna do all the work for him, all the heavy lifting. All he had to say is he was along for the ride. Oh man. And that's the funny part. Andy sat down and he's like, "Yeah, I don't really play poker. I'm just here to hang out with everybody." He just starts scooping in all the chips. It was the funniest shit. Oh, it was a blast. It was so fun. Oh, it was so good. World at the Iron Bowl for the halftime show. Oh man. But then I would have to stop playing halfway through to watch the game. It'd be a problem. So dash with high octane or without? To be honest, oh, and CC? Fuck no. Hell no. No shot. No shot. I do not want to watch Sam Sutherland map out how he's going to just destroy me for 15 minutes. I don't want to do it. I'd rather him just take 30 seconds to do it without high octane, okay? I don't want him to set up a whole board of 14 different items and him have to figure out how to use them all. Hell no. All right, chat. Higher pod chooses LL round 1, loses second round on CC, and chooses LL for third. Higher pod chooses LL for round 1 because it's favorable match. Oh, I see. Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah. Okay. So picking the first format, if there's a discrepancy in the matchup, is like giga valuable. Yeah, I see what you're saying. All right, chat. I think it's about that time. I had a blast chatting and coming up with horrible fish analogies, whatever that was. It was a blast. Thanks for all the interaction. LL gameplay next. LL gameplay next week. And a tier list a week or two after that is the game plan. See y'all in Orlando playing Aurora for LL. I think so. It's not what I would play, right? Because there is a superior Rune Blade, obviously, no bias or anything. But in all honesty, like I think it's actually decent. Like if you just want a low to the ground aggro that has like a lot of combo potential, obviously, because you have like, you know, the Arc Lightning combo, and you have like Tome of Findale that you can play again with it because Arc Lightning will give Tome Go again, so you can play it from Arsenal. There's a lot more like mini combos built within Aurora. It's not what I would bring, but like I think it's a better pick than a lot of people would give it credit for. I'll put it that way. New drank game. Take a shot every time Nathan tries to end the stream, then gets on a tangent. Look. We know what's gonna happen. 2 tier list. LL, yes, that's what's gonna happen. We got some LL gameplay for a week or two. LL tier list. 1 week, which will be Super Slam release. And then the week after we do the CC tier list. That's the game plan. That's what we're gonna do. All right. I appreciate everybody joining me. Really do appreciate it. And I will see everybody